Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money channel. So the crypto market looks like it is trying to recover slowly but surely. The market cap is up to 222 billion, and Bitcoin dominance down a bit at 68.3%. When we look on the charts here, guys, this is XRP on the hourly. We can see a steady increase for XRP coming back into that level of support that it initially fell out of. Okay, so we're looking at this level here between 24.6 at the low end and 26.9 at the high end. Okay, if I zoom out, you can see where that level of support has been vacillating over the last few months. We dumped right down to about 22 cents and now are coming back into this level. So that is a good sign that XRP is making a healthy recovery. BTC, I can't say the same thing. BTC is now trading below that $9,000 mark. It's kind of deceiving because I'm not actually... Originally, the resistance zone for Bitcoin was hovering around this mark here, and so it has actually created a new resistance level, now trading in this area here. So 84.24 right now. And if you look at the numbers, I just did this real quick. Bitcoin versus XRP. Bitcoin went from, let me just go back to the hourly for a second here, and I'm just going to explain to you where I got this from. So this day here, we opened, so this was the big bearish candlestick, and I took the numbers where each cryptocurrency opened at this point and what they're trading at currently. And so the results that were calculated were that Bitcoin, up until now, or rather up until about 30 minutes ago when I calculated this, Bitcoin was down 11.3% and XRP only 5.1% down. And again, guys, you can see it in the move. Bitcoin still languishing a little bit, but XRP climbing higher, okay? It's kind of hard to tell with these charts sometimes, but you can see XRP is actually making some upward momentum, okay? And more importantly, back into this level of support that it was holding so steady at for so long, whereas Bitcoin, of course, making a new level of support, and now we're just going to have to keep our eye on Bitcoin and see where it goes from here. Thomas Lee from Fundstrat is saying that Bitcoin price cannot blast off without a record S&P 500. And so this is an unpopular idea according to Thomas Lee. If you look at the S&P, I'm going to go to it on the monthly. Okay, and as you know, guys, the stock market has been having some troubles. Back last December, we saw it plummet to this level here, and then January, a record recovery. Now we're hovering at about the 297.62. It hit, 300, breached that 300 mark. But essentially what Thomas Lee is saying here is that it needs to go higher. It needs to make a new record high. So as the Bitcoin price languishes at 8,300, down more than 12% on the day, Fundstrat co-founder Thomas Lee has an unfortunate truth for crypto bulls. Lee does not believe Bitcoin is a safe haven. In fact, quite the opposite, as he forecasts that the S&P 500 will need to hit fresh highs this year before Bitcoin can. So in his tweet, Thomas Lee from Fundstrat says, the downturn in Bitcoin followed the risk-off sell-off in equities, reinforces our unpopular opinion Bitcoin does not do well in a trendless macro environment. New highs needed in S&P 500 before Bitcoin can blast off. And so why is this? A lot of people are talking about cryptocurrency as being a safe haven, hedging against traditional, equity markets and other traditional investments. Well, the answer to that is this. The fundamental reasoning behind the strategist's claim is sound. He and his team at Fundstrat believe that retail investors, so he's claiming that there are so many retail investors in crypto and not so many institutional investors who are driving the majority of the crypto price. So a strong stock market typically helps to encourage smaller investors to take on more risk. Therefore, Lee's theory is that a record-breaking S&P 500 likely equals a well-funded retail consumer with some money to burn. So far, he has been correct that a trendless stock market appears to be of no benefit to the Bitcoin price. So interesting theory there. The fact that it's mostly retail investors, and if you've made some money on the stock market as a retail investor, you're more likely to take a risk and throw some money at that weird investment called Bitcoin. And so this is essentially what he thinks is happening here. This from the Daily Hodl. Survey says Americans are embracing digital tokens for purchases with Gen Z in the lead. So I'm not going to read this whole article here, but essentially here's some key findings. 82% of consumers are willing to use tokens as part of an existing loyalty program. 81% would trust the use of tokens more readily if they were already participating in a company's loyalty program. Here's a big one, guys. No demographic is more accepting of tokenization than Generation Z. So this is the future. These are the people who are, under 20 years old, let's say. I don't know the actual parameters of the generation by the year, but let's say under 20. These are the people who are most accepting of the idea of tokenization and blockchain technology. 83% of Americans surveyed age 18 to 24 are interested in the future of tokens. Over half of older Americans age 65 and up say they are also interested in the future of tokens. 78% of Americans are more willing to use tokens with companies they already buy from. 79% of Americans would be more willing to use them if they're proven to be simple enough to use. 45% of consumers with high familiarity of tokens are concerned about fraud-related issues. 42% of Americans believe tokens are useful in gaming. And 60% of Americans are more likely to use tokens to make payments to small businesses. So this is proving to look like the future of tokenization is promising, especially for that Generation Z, who within, the next decade are really going to be influential in terms of spending power, getting into their careers, maybe buying their first homes, if buying a home is a thing in 10 years. I know in some cities it's so expensive to buy a home now that younger generations aren't even considering it. Nevertheless, the economy still has to chug along, and it's important to show that blockchain and tokenization is more accepted today than perhaps it ever was. And that is great for Ripple's MO. Essentially, at the end of the day, it's what the world essentially needs to believe in order to make money movement instant. More news from the Daily Hodl. Crypto trader moves 250 million XRP in volatile markets. So a flurry of crypto whale activity continues in the wake of Tuesday's big crypto crash. So 37,225 BTC worth 325.5 million were moved. And somebody also moved 250 million XRP worth $67 million between two unknown wallets. Again, from the whale alert on Twitter, that's at whale_alert. I will link this in the description if you want to read it further. And Ripple reveals new clues on the future of XRP-Powered xRapid. So this with relation to another job opening for Senior Manager of Business Development in Singapore in the description. So essentially they are looking for people to work at Ripple. In the description, Ripple says it's looking for somebody who can find and build xRapid partnerships in Asia-Pacific countries such as Thailand, Cambodia, Indonesia, Japan, Laos, Malaysia, the Philippines, and Vietnam, among others. And so gives a little bit of a description down here as to what the job entails. A separate listing for a manager of business development suggests Ripple is also looking to launch xRapid in Sao Paulo, Brazil. So according to the opening, Ripple is looking for someone to work with the product account management and sales teams to help deliver volume and xRapid use cases for cross-border payments. They keep expanding, and this is great because the world needs Ripple if we want our money to move instantly across borders. Guys, I saw this from AMB Crypto and I was a little concerned. Litecoin's Charlie Lee says Ripple uses the fake it until you make it strategy. Shots fired by Charlie Lee, the creator of Litecoin. Essentially, he was on Untold Stories, that's Charlie Shrem's podcast. And it sounds as though Charlie Shrem and Charlie Lee were having a gay old time bashing Ripple on the podcast. In a recent episode of Charlie Shrem's Untold Stories podcast, okay, I'm just going to call him Shrem and Lee. Shrem's Untold Stories podcast, Lee was seen addressing the same. Lee pointed out that Ripple had been shunning rumors that they had printed 100 billion coins for themselves initially and argued that someone else printed them. However, Shrem revealed that they were offering him millions of dollars worth of XRP if he had agreed to have added Ripple to BitInstant. So this was back in the day when Charlie Shrem was running BitInstant. He got put in jail because he wasn't complying with US regulations. Nevertheless, additionally, Shrem responded to them via email suggesting, "I don't think Ripple has any feasibility. I'm not taking your bribe. Have a nice day." Boy. Lee added to the hit. Additionally, Lee spoke about Ripple's firm position on CoinMarketCap's list. He believes that Ripple is using the fake it until you make it strategy, as they would claim that they were using XRP and enter into partnerships. This marketing strategy would help surge the price of XRP, and Ripple would again sell XRP every year in order to fund their company. And so both these guys are essentially stating that XRP is being used by Ripple for nefarious purposes, that they just minted the coins out of nowhere and they are using it and pretending that they have made it to enter their partnerships. Well, as you know, Ripple has deep connections to governments, central banks. You know, they aren't faking anything. They don't need people to suck up to them. At a point, the switch had finally occurred once they had made so many important partnerships, and once the ball started to get rolling. Brad Garlinghouse even said himself that the central banks, or I don't know if it was central banks or other banks, but he said that clients that were originally approached by Ripple were now coming back to them and saying, hey, where can we sign up for this? We hear our competitors using this. We want to sign up for this. So this is a tweet from Green Eggs and Ham with regards to this. There's no mystery how the XRP were created. OpenCoin pre-mined them and gifted them to Ripple Labs. Do you not know this, or were you trying to create drama with your article? Can you name people claiming XRP is hyperinflated? Not only that, guys, David Schwartz responded to Charlie Lee, and I love when David Schwartz responds because he always has this tendency of kicking him right in the butt. It's a matter of public record that Chris, Jed, and Arthur founded the ledger and asset at the time called Ripple before the company existed and agreed to give XRP to the company. 5 minutes with a search engine would find the documents, Charlie Lee, and then he posts the document here in his tweet. So amazing, simply amazing, just shutting Charlie Lee down with a singular tweet. And another article with regards to Charlie Lee and the same podcast, Litecoin's Charlie Lee expresses his support for proof of work, claims proof of stake is flawed. I mean, is this guy on crack? Guys, this is Charlie Lee, the creator of Litecoin, folks. Yes, Litecoin, the official cryptocurrency of one of the worst performing NFL teams this season so far, the Miami Dolphins. I'm sorry to any Miami Dolphins fans out there. I just found out that stat yesterday from my little cousin because he follows the NFL and he is actually a big Miami Dolphins fan. Anyways, guys, what do you think of Charlie Lee? Do you think he's lost his mind? I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.